If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with a new episode of Under the Radar, the first episode of Under the Radar with the new setup with the GoPro and this little desk that I have for recording only. So for this week's Under the Radar, I am talking about two albums that came out on March 10th. The first one I'm going to be talking about is from Finnish death doom metalers God Diesase with Apocalyptic Doom. So yeah, I got interested in checking this one out, not only because of the band name, but because it's death doom, and I do enjoy me some death doom. And boy, is this album death doom to the core. And I'm talking about probably some of the most dreary, atmospheric, and yet at times somber and brutal forms of death doom. Like, this is almost like the slower version of Hooded Menace. It's like it takes a lot of those like dreary, murky, atmospheric melodies of like a Hooded Menace song and just expand on that, and that's pretty much what this album gives you pretty much all the way through. And that is with those like slow, almost funeral doom marches. Occasionally things do get a little bit faster, but not by much. And of course, like, the production, it's pretty raw, pretty grisly sounding, and for those reasons, I'm giving this album an 8 out of 10. This is some pretty good stuff. Definitely, if you are a fan of bands like Hooded Menace, or even bands like Druid Lord, or perhaps even some of the more somber melodies of like a death doom band like, let's say early My Dying Bride, you're gonna pretty much dig this stuff. For me, the only complaint I could really have is that perhaps some of the songs were maybe just a little bit short. Because when it comes to death doom, I like hearing stuff get expanded upon. But yeah, 8 out of 10. And now for the second album, and this one is from a band I have never heard of. A band called Weight of Emptiness with, I believe it's called Withered Paradogma. That's what it is. So yeah, this band I saw on their Metal Archives, they're listed as Melodic Death Doom. And honestly, I think that's not giving them enough credit. Like, there are a few doom parts on this album, but for me, this is pretty much like progressive melodic death metal. Like, very little do you get doom. You get more like mid-tempo, you get more blast beats, and even at times it gets pretty thrashy at times on this album. And like vocally, there's a lot of great vocal dynamics. Like, the screaming vocals remind me so much of like Thomas Lindbergh from At the Gates. The growled vocals kind of remind me a little bit of Dan Swano, to the point where I almost thought Dan Swano was on this album, but alas, that turned out not to be the case. And then the clean vocals, this guy's got a hell of a clean vocal range. Like, it almost sounds like a hybrid of Dan Swano's cleans and Vintersorg's cleans. Like, there were times on this album where the clean vocals made me think of Vintersorg era Borknagar, which I love that shit. And of course, like, songwriting, there's plenty of dynamics on here. A lot of these riffs and grooves kind of remind me of Opeth, and even moments where it reminds me of bands like In Mourning, maybe a little bit of Insomnium, and at times even gets a little bit like Amon Amarth whenever things get a little more epic and perhaps a little bit uplifting. So yeah, this album's a roller coaster of progressive melodeath, and I am going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a great listen. Yeah, it's long, it's almost an hour, but all these songs deliver and then some. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Weight of Emptiness. And of course, that does it for this week's Under the Radar. Yeah, early parts of the year, you don't get a whole lot of stuff. Definitely when we get closer to the summer, we are definitely going to be talking about a lot of stuff. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Under the Radar. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.